Hello, everyone. Welcome to your new favourite weekly show. It is, right? You've watched us hopefully for a couple of weeks now. This is your Fan Team Weekly with Ben and Jace. We're going to hear from them in a minute. First, I'm here to tell you about what we're going to be talking about because this week, like now moving forward for the rest of the season, we're going to be focusing on the monsters. And you might not know what the Fan Team Monsters are. So we're going to be telling you in the next half an hour. But in short, you pick a team for 1 week only, 11 players, you get loads of budget, and you can win big cash prizes. There's 3 entry levels. There's the bottom tier, the middle tier, the top tier. Different prices associated with all those games. So if you're going at the bottom tier, you're paying around €2. It's just under £2. Around a tenner for the middle tier, and around 60 quid for the top tier. Big prizes to be won. I am myself a monster virgin. So let's go to 2 experienced campaigners. Ben, you love a monster.
Absolutely love the monster. It's like for me, for differential Dinnery, it basically allows you to pick those players that you would never entertain in a month of Sundays, short-term punts, all just based on one-off fixtures. If you can imagine, it's like having a free chip in FPL every single week. But the caveat here is prices fluctuate around fixture difficulty. So you're going to have a lot of teams which are differ from each other because you're just not able to shoehorn in all of those premium assets because, like I say, at those various different price points. So it allows people and managers to be a little bit more creative. What I love.
Yeah, I love that. Jace, you started playing monsters last season. Came, some small prizes on the way, but you feel like this one might be your year, right?
Yeah, I think I had teething problems at the start because, it was such a new interface. Ben introduced me to it, but I picked up very quickly. And now, I'm feeling confident. What I like as well is kind of reiterating Ben's point. It rewards outside of the box thinking, or maybe identifying a few trends here and there. And we'll see it with my teams as well. Sorry, my single team. Although, like always with FanTeam, you can put in as many as you like. You can kind of reward a few of the gut feelings, or maybe database. It doesn't always have to be gut feelings with this interface. But yeah, what I love is there's a few players in there that I would never ever pick, but this week I feel like they're really, really good picks and the fixtures are just on their side. But yeah, Gianni, I mean, you can ask us questions away. Are you excited for your first ever FanTeam Monster game week?
Yeah, I am. And we're buzzing about showing you guys our teams. We're all playing the kind of £10 tier level, the middle tier. And just looking at the prizes from that, if you win that, £4,200. It's a 50k euro pot, which is £42,000. So 10% goes to the winner, 42 grand. If you come second, just under 2 grand. If you come third, 1,200. Prizes all the way down. Like they're paying out big on this. So yeah, I am excited because for 1 week, you could pocket €5,000, £4,200. That's pretty useful off a tenner, right? So I'm liking that, and we've all got a couple of entries in this week. So yeah, let's have a look at some of the common themes we're looking at then. So our hot topic this week, we're going to be discussing players that we like for this week only, or teams we like for this week only. So the hot topics are West Ham. Not just your Antonios, but your Soufals as well, right? We're looking at West Ham defence and attack. And all 3 of us in the teams we're about to show you have covered West Ham. Of course, Ben's gone outside the box with some of his West Ham picks. Leeds United, that one I fancy for this week. They're away at Burnley. I think we might be sleeping on Leeds. I think there's a big interest there for the Monster and for FPL or Fantasy or Fan Team in general. And then we're going to discuss Wolves versus United. That's a fixture that really intrigues me this weekend, and I think we could see some surprises there. So there are 3 hot topics. Then we're going to be reviewing our teams. So let's kick off with West Ham, guys. Monday Night Football was super impressive. We've all got West Ham players in our teams, as you can see. Ben, who do you like from West Ham and why? Before we see your team, who do you like, and do we like attack, defense, or both?
I'm looking at offensively primarily.
Yeah.
Look, there's no need to go into too much detail. Mikel Antonio, the guy is in red hot form, and he's in a team that's creating lots of opportunities. He's fit, he's looking sharp, he's full of energy, and obviously he's riding on the crest of a wave. coming off the back of a 2-goal haul on Monday night. So really like him. And because of the budget limitations within this game, I would have preferred to go Ben Rama, although I did have reservations because I know his ownership will be quite high. He will be quite popular. So I've dug down and I've went for Pablo Fornals. It was a hit between him and Bowen. Fornals has got the current form. Bowen, it can only be a matter of time really before he starts to bang as well. But yeah, look, I really, really like West Ham going forward. I have avoided them defensively just because I see more value elsewhere, and you'll see when we show up my team, where that money has been spent, but my whole budget has gone.
Yeah, you get 105 million, guys. So you're only picking 11 players for these monsters. So forget your benches, you get 11 players. So you need the guys that you know are going to start. And then you get to go spend 105 million, but the prices are different to what you might associate with the normal season long game, right? So it's based dependent on opponent and dependent on form. So for example, Antonio is 12.4 million. He's double the price of Lukaku. And that's because Lukaku plays Liverpool away and Antonio's got Crystal Palace at home. Antonio's flying, Lukaku's doing pretty well too. So these are things to consider when picking your players. It's not always the ones you think are going to be value picks because it's based on opponent. And Jace, it's a pretty cool formula because FanTeam have got these really clever algorithms and they work out what the sort of suggested points per game target is for a player based on all these things thrown into the mix. They come out with these really cool prices, which make it a fun 1 week sort of punt game, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole point of it. It's a real head scratcher because you'd kind of go in and assume maybe somebody from, I don't know which team, maybe, yes, Leeds. They've always been quite a cheap FPL asset. Somebody like Rafinha or Bamford, you go, oh, well, usually they're such a bargain bucket own. But now they're really priced quite high because of who they're playing. And the interesting thing is as well, you've kind of mentioned Chelsea there with Lukaku. He's half the price of Antonio. But then you've got players like Salah as well. Because they're playing each other, Chelsea head-to-head, you'd think, well, Salah kind of transcends fixtures. Man City, other people like that, when they have difficult games, you kind of back them always. But then suddenly the price point that these players are at compared to others, you kind of go, oh, well, should I have them in? Shouldn't I? It's really, really fun, and it kind of keeps you on your toes. And like I said, it's so different to Fantasy Premier League in many aspects, but at least the point system is the same. So, yeah, it rewards people like Mr. Differential Dinnery here on screen. And I think as well what's really good is it's for 1 week, so you don't have to live with like your mistake if you get it really, really wrong as well. And for only, a tenner, or is it £10 and 8 pence? Again, it's not like a costly mistake as well. You can reset and go in the next game week and have confidence in playing in a very... I think this is probably the most fun way of doing fantasy football because it's just out there, isn't it, really?
And it's instant wins. Like with the season long games, we all love them. And of course, we will always play these games. But if you're going to get paid on them, you're waiting a very long time. It's a very long process. This is instant, right? We're forgetting the first fixture on Saturday, the Man City Arsenal game, and it starts from the 3 p.m. Saturdays. It finishes by the sort of late Sunday game. So within that period, you're kind of almost a sort of 27 hour period. You're seeing 9 fixtures, and you get to know where you finish, which I love. In terms of prices, popular assets, Benrahma, 12 million. Cresswell, 9.9. It's so cool looking at the different prices. So that's our sort of West Ham chat over. I mean, they look like they're favourites to boss Crystal Palace, who have looked poor. Palace lost to Watford in the week in the EFL Cup. Vieira's at 6s and 7s. West Ham flying. Let's turn our attention now, shall we, to Leeds, because, and we kind of showed briefly there, teased you with Ben's team on screen, and we'll talk about our teams in more detail later. But I'm thinking a filler for the Leeds chat should probably be my team, Jace, because I've got 2 Leeds midfielders, which is pretty cool. Like, I would never double up with Leeds midfield, but I just fancy them at Burnley. Luke Ayling at 7.5 is the most expensive defender. Midfielders, Rafinha 10.1, Harrison 9.9, Dallas 9.3. That seems a tad expensive on Dallas maybe. Bamford 10.2. Do Leeds intrigue you, Ben? I mean, have you gone for any Leeds players in yours? It's an away fixture at Burnley, but I feel like Leeds are going to smash them.
Um, any team away from home is always a slight concern, regardless of who that is.
Yeah.
Burnley went up to St James's Park midweek, clean sheet. I know it was a much changed team, and Nick Pope will come back in, but it is a much needed confidence boost, for Sean Dyche's men. I have went for Rafinha at 10.1, but he is the only Leeds asset that I'm going for. I'm not a big fan of Patrick Bamford. So, if you're looking for Leeds to attack and score, inherently it's going to be one of those two. And for me, Rafinha is a cut above. He's a touch of class. Had he stayed fit last season, his brilliant campaign would have been outstanding for a first season in the top flight. Hopefully he can stay fit. And if he did, he's a player that loves a shot, which is rewarded in FanTeam. It doesn't matter what the difficulty level is. He'll take that pot shot. And the thing is with Rafinha, he's got the quality to be able to put those strikes in the onion bag.
Yeah, he really has. And remember, guys, the scoring's exactly the same in this game as it's a normal FanTeam season-long game. So you're rewarded for 90 minutes. You're rewarded for shots on target. You still have to give someone the armbands. We still got captaincy and vice. Sticking with Leeds, Jays, you've gone double Leeds like me. I went Harrison, Rafinha. You went Rafinha, Bamford. You've gone big on Leeds. You fancy Bamford, one of his former clubs, Burnley. I don't think he got a huge amount of game time there either. So I always feel like he's probably got a point to prove when he plays them.
I mean, the thing is, I love Leeds. I think they're absolutely brilliant. But you also have to analyse the opposition. Burnley have been kind of dreadful for a short while now. And it's really worrying. I've kind of said it on other podcasts that the team are in serious need of investment. Dyche can only work so much. But now they've lost 9 of their last 11 Premier League games. Really worrying data. And in kind of one of the litmus tests that I do of how a team's going to perform at the start of a next season is how good or bad they were in the last 9 games of the previous season. And over kind of comparing their data from the 38 game average, Burnley's defence just kind of collapsed in those last 9 games. They started conceding more XG. They conceded more big chances in those games as well. And really worrying was in those last 19 games of the season, so second half of the season, they kept just 5 clean sheets. This is not the Burnley of old. This is not the kind of team that we once expected. And the other thing was, which is probably not as worrying for Leeds, is the fact that at Turf Moor last season, they scored less points than they did in away matches. I mean, that's...
Jeez, I missed that stat. That's a huge stat, that, isn't it? I know the fans in stadiums, that's big.
Yeah, so this is... They've kind of gone down and down and down in terms of Turf Moor points over the last few seasons. It's just been a gradual kind of reduction there, and there's a lot of questions to be asked. I think that the positive thing for Burnley is they've got like their best back line in in fitness, but Leeds are going to take them to task. And I think that Turf Moor has almost become, it doesn't matter. It's not the stadium that it once was. It's not a scary place to go. And so, yeah, I back Leeds. And the reason why I've gone with Rafinha and Bamford is their focal point of the attack, one of the best attacks in the Premier League. And Rafinha's just so good. Ben and I kind of came up with a phrase that he's Salah light. He's got that wicked wand of a left foot. He cuts in, but he takes speculative shots as well, which is what you love for FanTeam. He's going to have quite a few shots on target. He had 6 in his last game against Everton. He's just going to be racking up points even if he doesn't score. But I think he will. I think he'll either get a goal or an assist, and kind of his XG data proves that as well. He averages about an XGI of 0.5. So he kind of has 0.5 per 90, an XGI of every other game.
My thing with Leeds is I feel like now this is something I've not looked into all the data, but from watching games, this is how it feels. Every time Leeds play one of the top 6 teams or a team better than them, they lose because they go toe to toe with them. They play football. They usually score against them, the high scoring games, but they lose. The better team with the better players gets the best of them. Every time Leeds play a second half of the Premier League table team, they smash them. They blow them away, because they play so much better football. I feel like Leeds are flat track bullies. And I think it was at Turf Moor last season, they blew Burnley away. And I just fancy them to do it again this time. if you try and play football against Leeds and you're a Burnley, you're probably going to get beat. So, yeah, I'm really excited. Guys like Rafinha, Bamford, probably going to play 90, get loads of shots on. So, yeah, love that for FanTeam. Ben, what about Leeds defenders? Because they have been conceding this season. They don't look great at the back. And I don't think any of us have gone for Leeds defence. Even though Burnley aren't the most fluid attack in the league, we still don't fancy Leeds defenders.
No, I mean, Chris Wood certainly isn't a striker. Looks a pale shadow of the striker that was there last season. Maybe that's a little bit of a hangover from his involvement with New Zealand at the Olympics. Yeah. Ashley Barnes is coming back off a long-term injury. And then he sort of flip-flops with Rodriguez, Vidra when fit. So, there's no established frontline partnership there. But for me, if there was anybody in that Leeds backline, I do like somebody that can potentially offer offensive returns. It would be Firpo. He's something, but he's new into this league. And the Spaniard, he's a bit of an unpolished diamond. I think, he will grow and become a better player under Marcelo Bielsa. But for the moment, I'm not really completely sold on that Leeds backline. Like I say, I still think Burnley can pose a threat from set pieces with maybe Tarkowski popping up from a corner or a free kick. So I'm more than happy to leave them alone.
Yeah, the set piece threat's always there with Burnley. And Meslier seems one of those keepers that can be flappy at crosses. He's a very good shot stopper, but he flaps a lot.
That means crap.
It does crap.
I did want to jump in, Gianni, and actually contend with your point about the Big Six, though. Did you know that Leeds were unbeaten at home against Big Six sides all last season?
Oh, you stitched me up.
Unbeaten.
How many of them did they win, though? They beat Man City. I remember that.
I think they drew the others, but I mean, to be unbeaten against the Big Six, they had 3 clean sheets in those games as well. Sorry to piss
Where have I got that from? I know I haven't seen a stat because it's clearly not true, but it just feels like they get outplayed by the better teams. But yeah, fair point. Probably, that was all at home, was it?
Probably away from home they got destroyed, but at home at it's Elland Road, isn't it? They're really good, and I echo Ben's points there. Burnley underperformed their XG from set pieces last season. That is why I don't have a kind of Leeds defender in there, because they could nick a naughty goal from a set piece situation.
Yeah.
Gianni, while everybody's steaming into it, and this is just for transparency, and for just to
come on, give it to me.
Lukaku is priced at 8.6. And Antonio's 12.4.
It's not double, is it?
So not quite, because you're going to have a few comments in the box saying, hold on a minute, I'm expecting 6.2 million. He's just a little bit more than that, but we move forward.
8.6, yeah. Do you know what? I had in my head he was around 7, and I was like, okay, that's ambitious to say double, but I can kind of loosely say it. But at 8.6, you can't blag that. Fair. And guys in the comments, do let us know, like, what you think to the show, what you want to see more of. All the comments, even if they're a little bit niggly at me, I'll take that. So do comment on this video and obviously like it, guys. Like, we need you to like it, because the more people that like it, the more people that see it, boosting the algorithm. It's loads of complicated stuff I don't quite understand. But subscribe to the channel, comment and like. You'll be doing us all a massive favour. Thank you. Wolves United is our sort of third hot topic, and then we're going to see our teams. And I know you've seen some of our teams, Ben's first, then mine. This is a good excuse actually to show Jason's team on before he goes through it, because he has a Wolves player and you don't have any United players, Jace. So does that mean you're like me, maybe sort of thinking there could be an upset or very few goals? I don't think United are going to run right in this one. What do you reckon? Yeah,
I think this is a really, really tough fixture to call. And again, something that Ben and I have discussed through this week is, are Wolves good or are they bad? Because like they have really good underlying numbers. Are they doing a Brighton? Because, you know, all through last season, Brighton had fantastic defensive numbers. They were pretty good in terms of attack as well, but they never matched them. And that's kind of almost proof of them being a poor side, that the players just aren't good enough. And Wolves have almost done the same, but it's 2 matches. So I don't want to jump ahead of this. In terms of XG, they kind of had a positive XG difference in both of those games. They shouldn't have lost them. And Traore himself, the person that's in my team, he has an XGI of 1.79. You know, he's in top 3 is really, really good. But we know that he's not the best finisher, but Jimenez is. So there's a lot of things to kind of debate about it. So I think it could be a tighter game. And I do have Fernandes in terms of my fan team, actual team, but I won't be captaining him because I'm not sure if Man United are going to score a lot of goals. I think it could be like a 1-1. I can see Man United having a mistake in them like they've had in the first 2 games of the season and giving up an opportunity. Wolves can get in there, and I feel like Traore's just been, because he's playing as an inside forward now, he's playing on the left rather than the right, he's cutting in and shooting. Yeah. I fancy him just having an opportunity. I mean, do you kind of reflect that as well, Gianni?
He's in my team, Traore. He will definitely get chances, like we've seen in the first couple of weeks, how high he is, playing as an inside forward, but also kind of it looks like a front 2 at times, right, with Jimenez. We know there's chemistry there. But you were generous when you said he's not the best finisher. He's possibly one of the worst in the league, isn't he? He can't hit a barn door, Ben, can he, Traore?
He's a little bit raw, let's just say. Look, I think Traore has progressed exponentially over the last maybe 12 to 18. Last season, we've seen a downturn in output. Didn't get his first goal and assist, offensive returns, I think it was until April. Prior to that, there was a lot of talk and suggestion that Traore would be moving, attracting the interest of Liverpool. 50, 60 millions were being bandied around. The absence of Raul Jimenez as well would have had an impact on his game last season. Jimenez is now back, and also the pressures are different. The style of play is different. Under Nuno, he played that more conservative, approach to football, which I think that, again, that was around the circumstances and around, minimizing injury risk. But under Bruno, they want to move forward, play on the front foot. And look, I do like Traore. Like I say, he's a threat. He's a nuisance. He adds a lot of pest value, and it's very rarely that you ever see just one player on Traore. It's 2 or even sometimes 3, and that can open the pitch up for somebody like a Raul Jimenez or even a Trincao to come in there. So
I feel like at times, despite not being able to hit a barn door, he is unplayable. Like watching him against Spurs last week, at times he looked unplayable. He's just so good on his day. And I think the transfer rumours are back up. I think it's very unlikely he leaves now because there's only a few days left of the window open. But Traore has been linked with a £40 million move to Spurs this window, again in the last 48 hours. So there is that slight sort of increased performance there, because you could argue he might be playing for a move. But I think, playing against United will suit him. United will have a lot of the ball and Traore will counter-attack. So yeah, he's 6.4. Really good price, I think. And he's in my team. If you're looking at Jimenez, 7 million. If you want defenders, you can get Semedo at 5.6 is the most expensive. Connor Cody, 5.3. Worth highlighting that Wolves did keep a clean sheet in the week against Nottingham Forest in the Cup. They won 4-0. The likes of Cody, Roman Saiz did play. And I wonder if that will give them a little bit of confidence. I feel like they needed a fixture in the week against weaker opposition, and they had that, and they won 4-0. I can see United Wolves being a very close game. Maybe a 1-1 draw or even 1-0 United, but I can't see bags of goals for United, which is why I'm veering away from them, because their assets in this monster draw are all very expensive. Ben and Jace, do either of you have United player?
Just a little bit too rich for me, given the like I say, I'm expecting a really, really tough game. So the obvious suspects would come to hand, but at 12.1 million for Bruno, no, he's a little bit too rich. Greenwood at 10.8 does appeal a little bit more, but still, I'm looking at a player who probably won't get 90 minutes with Martial back, with Cavani back in training. I think Sancho could come into that team, so that takes maybe, James out. You've got Pogba, you've got Bruno. So lots of competition. There could be, Ollie could be looking to rotate and bring players out in and out there. So I'm hoping for those 90-minute bonus points.
Yeah, I have gone Greenwood as my one and only United, but that's purely based on form and the fact I think he might start as the 9, because Martial was so bad as the 9 last week. But yeah, he has got 90 in his first 2 games, but now Cavani's back and will start to feature. I think I'm with you, Ben. I don't think he will get the 90, which is a shame, because you're always looking for that in FanTeam. Okay, let's move on to our team, shall we? Jace, I think we should start with yours. Seeing as we've just seen it with Traore, who else do you got and why? And then Ben and I, this is what we do every week, guys. Jace will tell us about his team. Then Ben and I are going to rip it to shreds, and we're going to praise it as well. So we're going to go positives and negatives on Jason's team. We'll do the same with Ben and the same with mine. Let us know in the comments what you think as well.
Is it my turn to be kind of jumped on this game week? Because
I feel like it needs to be.
Because like last week, was it you, Gianni? The week before, it was Ben, so it's only fair to kind of take it in turns. Just quickly, before we go into my team, a little question to both of you, a teaser here. What do you think the goal conversion rate of Traore was, percentage-wise, at his peak in the 1920 season? Just a quick data question for both of you there.
8%.
Gianni?
What, his goals, his shots to goals?
Yeah, conversion ratio.
Yeah, I'm saying 1 in 12, 1 in 13.
I'll go 1 in 10, 10%.
It was 9.3%. So you're dead right there, Gianni. He's not...
No. It's the Price is Right rules. If
you can't go over.
1 penny over. So thank you very much.
The Price is Right. What a show. Some of our older listeners might get that. Yeah. Jace, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I do remember The Price is Right. It's probably a very distant memory, though, so I can't remember it too well. But let's go into my team, see if The Price is Right on some of these players, because, I've started at the back here, double up of Raya and Henry in terms of Brentford defence there. We'll kind of talk through the double up there just for people who maybe are new to the Monster. You do get a stack penalty, so you get a point taken off for having 2 players from the same defence there, and then it kind of increases. So if you had 3, you'd have 2 points taken off, 2 from one from the other, and none from one of those people there. So just be wary of building up your defences there. In the middle, Trent Alexander-Arnold.
You've still done it?
Yeah, I've still done it because I fancy Brentford to have a clean sheet there with Aston Villa. You can criticise it in a moment, but I just feel that the data's there that Aston Villa just aren't very good. Trent Alexander-Arnold is in there. He's a bit more of a punty one because I was looking at the Leeds defenders. I was looking at other defenders priced around him. And then I thought, well, we kind of always go into these Super Sunday or whenever the fixture is games, and we kind of give it this big talk, and then they're usually like a low-scoring 0-0 or something like that. So I can't see it being a high-scoring game. Probably be a 0-0. Cresswell just has to be in there, and it kind of joins up with my West Ham treble up. That's how much I believe in them. Son, Traore, Rafinha and Benrahma in the middle there, Wilson, Antonio and Bamford up front. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. The captaincy is on Son at the moment. Obviously I'll be waiting to see with the fitness news. Ben can kind of maybe keep us up to date with that. But yeah, Gianni, what do you like? What do you dislike? Time to rip into it if you want.
I like a lot your Leeds players, your Traores, Sons, your West Ham players. The only 2 for me are the double Brentford defence. I think could be an ish. I completely appreciate the stats though. Villa's attack has been dreadful. Danny Ings, I think, has scored in both games. Once a penalty, once the worldie. I think in both games he only had like 1 shot on target. So he's not getting involved, and he is their main threat with Watkins out, and obviously Grealish. They're missing him. But I still think Dean Smith, against his old team, Aston Villa got the home advantage. Brentford are a newly promoted team. I still think Villa will score. I can't guarantee think they're going to win the game, but they'll score. I could see that being a sort of 1-1, or maybe Villa just pinch it. So I don't know about the double defense, but look, I get you can't have all premium players, right? You need some more affordables. The only other one for me is Callum Wilson. I don't dislike the punt until I just looked at his price. He's 9.3 million, which seems a little bit on the heavy side for me. Southampton were pretty good at the back last time out against United. I've not been impressed with Newcastle. Of course, if you're backing a Newcastle player, it's Wilson. I just expected him to be 7 or 8. So when I saw him at 9.3, I just wonder if there's better value elsewhere. But I don't dislike the punt. If anyone's going to score for Newcastle, it's Ben's boy Wilson. So yeah, good chance, mate. Can I have like a third? Can Ben and I get a third of your winnings on this?
I don't know if I'll win. I mean, I do feel kind of positive about it. Just maybe an interesting bit of data for you with the Wilson pick. He's only slightly behind Danny Ings for projected points for this game week. I don't fancy Danny Ings. I preferred Wilson, so it was kind of a toss-up between him and maybe, I don't know, I didn't like Vardy either. I didn't want to get a defender in. So he was like the only forward that I'd go for. I do share some of these misgivings, but I feel like Southampton do have that mistake in them. You know, they didn't keep a clean sheet against Manchester United. If they don't keep a clean sheet against Newcastle, it's going to be Wilson. But yeah, I do have squeaky bum time over Brentford. You know, I'm not 100% certain there. I feel like they're going to stop it out. I mean, Ben, what are your thoughts and feelings on my team?
As much as I would like to, really steam into it. I mean, Gianni stole me thunder on a couple of those. The Callum Wilson pick, that's a hard one to swallow, given our lack of form, given, the lack of really performances. Steve Bruce said we were improved midweek against Burnley. Callum Wilson was rested from that game completely, but we still drew a blank, and then we ultimately went out on penalties. So things aren't great. We'd hope that we improve with the arrival of Joe Willock. The big concern for me is, who's supplying the bullets, and the big player in that Newcastle team, rightly, is John Joe Shelby. He's the one that's always looking for a forward pass, and he's ruled out. And without him, you maybe throwing Hayden. Chances are he's going to miss out. So you've got Longstaff, and there's just nobody really able to create. You've got the nuisance value of Stan Maxim. You will have Willock and maybe Almiron breaking, but like I say, there's nobody who's really cute who can pick a pass. They're all really head down, explosive, bomb towards the goal and direct. Whereas sometimes you need that little bit of calm and creative influence, to come from midfield. So that would be my concern. And at that price, I'd look elsewhere, and I'll give my thoughts on my team as I did. I'm with you on Brentford. One thing you did mention about the stack, losing the points on that, when you double up or triple up with the defense. Another point to make sure that make new users aware of, FanTeam actually have what they call a safety net. So like you say, when we're talking about this team, we're picking just 11 players only. Now, if your player is omitted from the starting 11 for whatever reason, you have a safety net of bringing a player in. However, the caveat is that if you're going, it brings in the player at the next value below the one you had in. So, for example, if you had Henry at 5.9, then you could bring in Pinnock at 5.8 for Brentford. But if you had the lowest starting Brentford defender price-wise and he missed out, then effectively, you would be starting the game with 10 men. So, if you do have a little bit of spare budget over, look to upgrade those low budget options. Like I say, the safety net is in place, but it only covers those players where there is a value player just below that is starting.
Well,
it's a really good point, Ben.
I was going to say, maybe one of the insulting comments I made to you last week, Ben, was I said, have you spent all your money? Well, I can announce that I do have 1.3 million left in the bank. So I do have a little bit of leeway here. So
you could go Vardy for then.
Yeah, I could go, and this is something that I will take, going a little bit forward. I'm going to keep kind of number crunching. So I'm taking that because both of you said about Wilson, and that unsettles me a little bit. I listen to criticism, I listen and learn. And that's a really good point about the situation there with the next best player. I've kind of done well in that situation. Because I've kind of always gone for the most expensive player or one of the most expensive players in the team, because it's not worth the risk. It's kind of worth paying that little bit premium extra, like a Cresswell instead of maybe an Ogbonna or something, just because then you're guaranteed that at least you'll have a player. But who's the next player who's the next team we're going to move on to, Gianni?
Shall we have a look at Ben's next? Because I'm keen for some differentials. I think my team's quite similar to yours, so let's break it up with Ben's. Go on, Ben, talk us through it.
I mean, you see differentials, and I look at this and I'm just thinking these are all obvious solid picks.
Class.
I mean, just different mindsets here, right? I love that everyone would go Ben Rama and you'd go, no, Fornals. Like, why get Ben Rama? Because everyone's going to have him. But you probably think Ben Rama's got a slight edge on Fornals, but Fornals still got a very good chance of points. So why not go for the one with the low ownership, right?
Exactly that, Gianni. Look, I'm with Jason. I think it's going to be a very tight game at Villa Park. So I've went Martinez in goal, and also I've went Rico Henry as well. He does offer attacking returns as well. I think 50% of his touches have been in the opposition half, and he loves to get forward. I'm hoping that's going to be a 0-0 draw. I think it will be really tight. And if we're going to, jump on those Brentford assets, then the early part of the season's a time to do it when they're still full of confidence, when everything is new and everything is fresh, and they've got that, that new feel about them. So I do like that double up, and at that price point, 5.9 for Henry, then there's no issues there. The Martinez I could potentially swap out if there's maybe some late breaking team news, maybe on Friday. That's one that I could look to switch out. But I've also went budget with Kilman at Wolves. For the reasons we outlined, I don't think it's as clear cut as everybody seems to think. We talked about United ahead of the trip to St. Mary's, and look what happened there. At 5 million, he's one of the cheapest I'm not saying guaranteed starters, but a defender that we would expect to start. He was part of that back three midweek that kept a clean sheet. I think it was against Notts Forest.
Yeah. So
that might be a slight concern if he's picked up a knock, or if he's still there are any issues with regards to fatigue. So that could be one that I could ship out. But Kilman is in there, and he's a bit of an enabler.
I think Cody and Seiss also were in that back three against Notts Forest. So that could be the same back three. That's arguably the best. Just kept a clean sheet.
It's a back three that I wouldn't expect to change. Certainly not with the injuries that we got. We're not expecting anybody back in there. It would be forced. The only change that I could potentially see happening would be maybe Den Donker dropping in there if there were any problems. And so I went with a 3-4-3, and it's Sergio Reguilon would be the he's expensive. He comes in at 10.1, but from a defensive perspective, Watford don't travel very well at all. No. I think 70% of their wins in the Championship came at Vicarage Road. And we've seen on the opening day at Brighton, they look like a different team home and away, and they fail to create anything down at the Amex. You couple with that, and potentially, Reguilon offers an attacking threat. Maybe if Harry Kane starts, you've got that focal point, you've got that striker where Reguilon will be looking to link up. If not, you've still got Son. Now the midfield is the interesting one. If you're not familiar with the Monster game and how prices fluctuate, believe you and me, you rarely see those big premium assets under 10 million. And whenever I see the likes of Salah, who's 9.9 this week, then I just have to throw them in, because to me, look, it is a tough fixture against Chelsea without any question of a doubt. But one, he's coming up against his former team. They've always got a point to prove. He'll want to raise his game. And also, these players transcend fixture difficulty. These guys don't need quite often don't need a second bite of the cherry. And he could quite easily get a goal or two on Saturday out of a half chance. So 9.9, it's an obvious pick. Leicester haven't been great. I went for James Maddison, but again, it's almost that old boys reunion, his former stomping ground, and this is based purely on fixture, which is over any kind of form, because Leicester haven't been in great form. Their XG is terrible. I think second lowest in the Premier League, but I'm hoping they're going to bounce back from their defeat at West Ham. My own thought is that we might see Castagna return to that Leicester team, and I think Rodgers may go with a 3-1-4-2, and the two would be Iheanacho and Vardy up front, which adds a different dynamic. And then you've got the four in behind of Tielemans, Barnes, Pereira, and then Maddison, because obviously Perez is suspended. So I think you might see a more attacking, free-flowing Leicester team, and they could get a couple of goals in there. You know, we've touched upon Fornals, which is me pick over Ben Rama. Yes, on price, 11.6, but also his ownership isn't going to be as high, and Rafinha is me Leeds pick. Jamie Vardy, he's got the captain's armband at the moment. If Kelechi starts as well, you know, they're going to give that Norwich backline a lot of problems. You know, they're going to struggle. It depends on how Daniel Farke is going to line up. He's been unchanged, you know, in both his Premier League games, but they got a great result in the Carabao Cup midweek against Bournemouth. So it remains to be seen if any of those players are pressed enough to come into that level. Brandon Williams from Manchester United on loan at left back is one player that could potentially come in. But for now, it's Vardy with the armband, Antonio, West Ham, and my third pick again, price point. I'm just price point. Romelu Lukaku, 8.6 million. And look, this guy has a point to prove. We've seen it in the game against Arsenal. What he brings, he's a different player to the one that left the Premier League. You know, there's still doubters out there that will question him, that will question his price tag. And for me, this season is all about Lukaku announcing himself on the big stage, back in the Premier League. And I firmly expect a striker who's going to score 30 plus goals this season.
I'm with you on Lukaku. I think that's a great pick. And he's big in my thoughts for all fantasy games. Shall I go first, Jace? I mean, the additions of the premiums that are affordable, Lukaku, Salah, being able to get Lukaku and Salah. What did I say? Lukaku.
More Lukaku.
So all over the place. Long day. Getting these premiums under 10 mil, it's great. But Leicester players, that's my biggie. I'm not sure I'd be happy with either Vardy or Maddison, let alone the pair of them. That's the only two things I can pick out. I know it's Norwich, but Leicester have looked so bad. And Norwich had a big win in the week. Bournemouth, was it 6-0 they beat Bournemouth in the Cup? Yes. And knowing Leicester the away team, knowing they haven't been playing well, knowing that, yes, Perez is suspended and that could be a good thing for them, the shift in formation will be interesting. If he goes 3 at the back, there's no Vestergaard. So does that mean we're going to see either Luke Thomas or Castagna playing as a left-sided centre-back? Maybe, and Castagna has done that for Belgium. And I really hope that he does go with that formation, which allows Barnes almost playing as a wing-back, but it will be like a wide forward at times because you'd expect Leicester to have the ball. And then Iheanacho definitely deserves a start, I think, in a team that's been shot shy. But I just think spending maybe 11-1 on Maddison and then obviously Vardy's 11-7 could be a bit heavy. But look, if you fancy Leicester to win, then they're your two players for sure. And obviously you got Vardy, you always have the set piece threat. So not terrible picks. I'm just surprised they're quite so expensive. But I guess people just don't fancy Norwich, which is fair enough. Like we've seen them in the Premier League. They ship goals for fun. What do you reckon, Jace? Are you with me on Leicester, or are you picking out other things to improve?
I mean, I'm totally with you with the Leicester thing. And I've said this before to Ben as well. I don't get James Maddison hype. Like I really, really don't.
Ben loves him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You've had Maddison a lot in your teams over the years, I've noticed.
And he's, first of all, he's not in a very good Leicester side. I totally with you there, Gianni. And the thing is, they've been bad for a while. You know, I think the FA Cup papered over a lot of cracks. The last 9 games of the season, they were absolutely awful. Defensively, really fragile. But Maddison himself, yes, he might be involved with some of the chance creation, but he takes very speculative shots. They're not high XG quality. Vardy, I think, is fine, you know, because this is kind of one of those things where you go with the punt because it is the fixture. So I'm not really too critical on that one. But yeah, I don't get the Maddison pick. I mean, if I was going to go for a Leicester player, it would be Barnes over. It would be Barnes over Maddison, just because Barnes is probably more likely to get on the score sheet. Apologies to rip into you there, Ben. So
you know what? This what you're saying, truthfully, This is absolute music to my ears. You're saying what I want everybody to think.
Yeah.
I want everybody to jump on Barnes if they're going to go Leicester, or I want everybody to avoid Leicester, and I want them to go to Carrow Road and bang in 5, because that's why I stick in those differentials. You know, what's the point in game week 1 of everybody coming away with a 90-point week and you're still coming in the top 1 million or what have you? Let's have a few differentials in there, so when you bang, you get rewarded for it. Well, and that's my differential for this week. That's what I'm hoping for.
If you
bring it.
If you want a Leicester differential, why don't you go with Tielemans instead of Maddison? Because he's got the higher XG and higher XGI. I mean, nobody's going to do Tielemans. That could.
No. There's a lot of love between me and Maddison. It goes deep. You wouldn't understand.
Okay. No, this is a Benteke situation. I apologise. I'm gonna withdraw because I can just see the love in there. But like the positive of the situation, I think. You know, we've all done this, but we played 3 at the back. You know, the FanTeam system rewards that. And I like the cheeky shout of Salah and Lukaku just because of their price points. You know, I'm saying there that it'll probably be a low-scoring affair. But if Chelsea or Liverpool do score, you back Salah, you back Lukaku. And Fornals as well, I think it's an interesting differential there. I think him and Bowen have really good underlying data. Bowen has been unlucky so far, and Fornals has done really well, so I like it. And Reguilon, my final kind of positive there, he's played so far up the pitch, but I have said that I'm not a big fan of Spurs either, not just because I'm an Arsenal fan, I just don't think they're playing well. But in this game, I think that Tottenham will do well at home. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on Ben's team.
I'm just looking at my team, and I've got loads of the players we've spoken about, which I guess is a really good thing. So talking about Reguilon there, I've got Reggie, Soufal. We mentioned West Ham defence. I've got covering them with Soufal. I've gone Livramento as a bit of a punt. I needed some money. He might play a bit out of position. I don't fancy Newcastle. In goal, I should mention, a bit like Ben, I've looked at some of the premiums and gone, some of these games are often close. Could it be a 0-0? Could Mendy get loads of save points? And Mendy's my keeper. Traore, we've spoken about. The Leeds boys, I'm backing Leeds big. Greenwood too, we've spoken about. Same with Lukaku and Antonio. These guys we're speaking about and have been in loads of teams, but there's one guy we've not, and he's in my team. Harry Kane. The first mention of Harry Kane. We know he's staying. I think he starts. I mean, you could argue maybe you're worried he's not going to start, but I think he starts. I'm very confident he starts, actually. And he's obviously got the penalty threat. Watford are the worst travellers so far we've seen, potentially. I just think Harry Kane, I've actually just changed my armband as we were talking. You'll see on the screen, the armband's on Antonio. I've actually just changed it to Harry Kane. And I think that's perhaps a bit of a toss of a coin, but I just think Kane sending out a message, I'm still here for you fans. I still love the club, whatever you wanted to move, but you're gonna perform. He's just such a pro. So yeah, that's my team. I'm happy with that front line. Kane, Antonio, Lukaku, I could see them all getting goals. Liverpool haven't been brilliant at the back. Yes, it could be a tight game, but if anyone scores for Chelsea, it's your boy Lukaku. And then the exciting midfielders like Traore, Greenwood, the Leeds lads, Reguilon and Soufal, great for attacking returns. I think I'm winning the money this week. £4,200 to Buttice, please. What do you guys reckon?
I'll kick off. And I did look at the Harry Kane, and yes, the concerns were that will he start? And I'm going to keep my powder dry until I know exactly what happens with this Europa Conference tie this evening. So at the time of recording, Tottenham have announced that Kane is captain in the team and he will lead that Tottenham attack. If he was to come off, if he was to play 90 minutes tonight, then I would seriously question, given his protracted summer, his late return, whether he has it in his legs to start another game. I think, Nuno hasn't been one to bow down to the pressure of Harry Kane and just throw him straight back in as soon as he is anywhere near fit, like a Mourinho did, like maybe Poch did. I think they almost, a 70 to 80% Kane was good enough. But for me, I think Nuno's looked at those first 2 games, played the champions, albeit maybe they weren't firing on all cylinders and they didn't have everybody available. But, they're coming off the back of 2 wins. So they have proved and shown that they can do without Harry Kane. And look, if he does play 90 plus minutes potentially on Thursday night, then that would be a big worry for me heading into this weekend's games.
Yeah, I think I'd have to make changes. Like, I'm with you, Ben. Like, there's no way he can play 90 twice. And I'm just really hopeful that he plays 45 or 60 on Thursday night, which I think he will. I think he might get 60. And then again, you could argue maybe he's going to get another 60 at the weekend. But I think if he plays 60, we might get more at the weekend. I guess it depends how the game's going. What do you reckon, Jace? Yay or nay?
Just to add to the Harry Kane situation here, again, for people that haven't played before, with the safety net situation there, I don't think you'd have a player come in because Troy Parrott is the only other forward on FanTeam. So if Kane doesn't start, you'll have 10 players at the start of the game week because it cancels out. So the safety net is all non-starting players will be replaced at the beginning of the match. So even if he does come on, he's already replaced. And well, he'll be replaced by nothing. So that's just it's just a situation there that I don't want you to happen, Gianni, because I want you to come second behind me this game week.
What about me?
Yeah, you two can draw for second. Like
they can't have a draw though. If we're drawing, it goes down to money in the bank. I think.
Okay.
So I might leave 100k in.
Oh well, I'll still win.
Oh, you got more. Okay.
There you go. I'm picking no favourites here. I'll let you two decide who's going to come second. Obviously, I'm winning the 4.2k. In terms of it, Gianni, I think you can preempt what I'm going to say. Soufal, why isn't he Cresswell? You've got 300k in the bank. Just make him Cresswell because of the set. He just like, no, I don't want him.
I'm just so team Soufal here.
Yeah.
I know the set piece threat. And I tell you what, when Zuma's in the team, even more set piece threat for Cresswell. But I just love Soufal.
Yeah, no, I get it. So that's the only kind of negative there. I like the team. I like that you have the same Leeds love as I do. And I like that you've gone with somebody different as well. I think that Harrison is quite often overlooked by the FPL community as well. He doesn't get as much attention, but his output last season was fantastic. He had really good underlying numbers, and against somebody like Burnley, he's going to be let off. He's going to have a really fun time. So I think that is a great differential shout there as well. So yeah, there's a lot to love about that team. Like I said, the only problem that I have is Cresswell.
Thank you, guys. I welcome that. And the Harry Kane thing, I'm really glad you put that on my radar, Ben. I didn't even look at team news for the Thursday night game, so good to know that he has started, will be starting. But yeah, it does seem to be a different way of playing this game. So even, it's been my first day today of planning my monster team. I've taken a lot of time over it, but interesting that Ben's approach to this is where you can really sort of separate those that want to go for a bit of a punt. Because, how many weeks do we look at results and go, didn't see that coming. It's not always your template players. Of course it's not. So this is your opportunity to go a little bit rogue. The likes of Harrison feature for me, for example, for that exact reason. I've got, a few differentials in there, which I'm happy about. Regulon, another one. So yeah, guys, give it a go. Like, I'm just looking at, it's very easy to find on the website. So you're obviously on your FanTeam site, click at the top, games, and then you'll see on the first couple of lines, you'll see the monster game, right? So these can fill up before deadlines. So do get in there and play early. You can play the £1.68 game, the kind of minimal entry game. You can play the £10 8p game. This is all priced in euros, so we're seeing a pound value. And then likewise, the £63 monster. So all of these are monsters. It's exactly the same principle for all three games. You pick 11 players, you have 105 million. It's the standard FanTeam scoring. It's just a very quick win. So do give it a go. Obviously, like this channel, guys. Do subscribe and comment. Let us know any feedback in the comments. We're going to be doing this every week. Ben, we're going to be doing it every week on the monster. So I think we should start every week sort of with maybe why don't we start doing maybe a leaderboard? So the three of us can have a little leaderboard between us, and we can see, maybe you have to put your best monster rank in, or something like that, and we tot it up, or we just do a standard 1, 2, 3. What do you reckon?
Look forward to it. Bring it on. We can do cumulative points. We can do whatever, but we can head up each show with a little bit of a recap, and just discuss what might have worked and certainly what mightn't have done quite so well as we had initially hoped.
Yeah, yeah. Jace, what do you reckon?
I
You might
love
have
it.
to be the man in charge of this as your stat man McKenna. Do we go a cumulative total or rank or give it some thought maybe? But for next week, I think we should do it.
Yeah, I like the cumulative total. And I don't know, is there a prize at the end of the season apart from just
Ooh.
pride?
I think
like that.
Gianni to shave all his hair off.
I mean, there's many things that I'll do. Shaving my head, I don't know if there's one. I'll give it some thought.
But you could go all Sam Matterface and get a bumblebee tattooed on your backside.
Did he do that? I missed that completely.
Because I think the bet was that he said that if Watford didn't go down, he would get a tattoo of a bee on his backside.
He's brilliant. I've got a lot of time for Sam Matterface. Enjoyed him in the Euros. ITV's lead commentator.
You know what? People can comment below if they can think of a good,
I like that.
Bang it it's called bang it in the box.
Exactly. Prize for first place, and I guess some sort of forfeit for last place.
Yeah, love that.
And that'll keep us on our toes all through the season.
Yeah. If the money's not enough for us, it'll be the forfeits and the prizes. Love that. Cool, guys. We'll be here every week. Same, almost same time, same place. Usually these vids will be out on kind of midweek, so look out for it on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. Plenty of time to still play off the back of seeing it. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week. Cheers, guys.